PwC has just, as you're aware, we do this annual global CEO survey, and the 2012 edition basically has an output that says that Nigerian CEOs are very optimistic about Nigeria's growth prospects for the future, both in terms of thinking about the next 12 months and 3 years down the road. This compares favorably well with 75% for Africa and global CEOs. They also recognize that there are significant risks in our environment, but they are aware of those risks, and in spite of those risks, they do believe that they will grow and grow significantly. So you'll ask yourself, why is that? I actually understand it, because a lot of our CEOs that are here understand that where there is risk, there's opportunity, and that they've been applying risk assessments and appropriate risk management policies and practices over the years, and are able to do very well despite the risks. So the CEOs in Nigeria, about 90% of them really do believe that these growth prospects are not just about talking, that they're actually going to deliver. You know what's happening in Europe, you know what's happening in Asia, you know what's happening in the US. In spite of all of those, when people talk about China's growth slowing to 7.6% from the projected 8%, we here say, despite our problems, we've been growing at an average of 7% over the last few years. And well, you know and I know that a lot of us on this side, i.e. outside government, think perhaps we should be growing at 13%, 14%. And we have a basis to have that expectation. We know that the reason why we're not perhaps achieving the 13% growth rate that we have a right to expect is that some of the growth is not filtering down to the grassroots. And the government is very conscious of that, and is trying its best. But like I told my global chairman, we've got, what, 250 different tribes, different languages in a democratic setting. It is quite challenging to try and get a commonality of views, and therefore some degree of consensus about where to go and how to go, and the direction in which you want to take the country. If you add on to that significant religious differences, you begin to understand some of the challenges that government has. Now, I'm not an apologist for government at all. I'm just as much a critic as you are. But I think that it's important that we put some of these things in context. We've had leadership challenges, that's very, very clear. We've had growth challenges, we've had talent challenges. Where do you find these people who are going to get into government and drive some of the solutions to quite a few of the issues we have? And we are still all operating in an environment where we are connected to the rest of the global economy that's facing significant challenge even as we speak. So it isn't that easy to be in government, and I don't know why you guys think about it, but I'm extremely happy I'm not in government. Because some of those challenges, if you've had any hairs left, by the time you spend 3 months, you won't have any left. So I would like us to spare a thought for government. Now, that doesn't mean that there isn't much more they can do. There's a hell of a lot more they can do, and quickly too. Anyway, I think the long and short of this is really that we are in an environment where there are real issues, there are real challenges, and that the survey results, the CEO survey results, indicate that our CEOs understand that there are uncertainties, there are risks, and despite those uncertainties and risks, they do project that we are going to grow. And that is actually being borne out by the fact that we are achieving on average about 7% growth. Should that growth percolate more to The grassroots, undoubtedly, because ultimately government is there for everybody, not just for people who are participating in the bits of the economy that are showing success. And although not a lot has happened because of the uncertainties in those regions, what's very, very clear is that there's been significant prospective investment from the Middle East into Africa, just looking at the agricultural space. So we are very much involved in that and very much engaged with not just bringing them into the Nigerian space, but also thinking wide in terms of the broad dimension of what to do to restructure the agricultural sector in Nigeria. In the last administration, we've worked quite closely with the then Minister of Agriculture. And quite a few of the ideas that we had worked on are still in play. But you know that, I mean, at the end of the day, agriculture contributes like about 42% of current GDP. The scope to move that to 50% is there in a very short while. So there are challenges in terms of what the government is trying to do, but don't forget, please, that practically everybody in the rural areas, put together, for 50–60% of the population is involved in agriculture in one form or the other. So the challenges are there. We're contributing to thought leadership, again at the government level, and at bringing clients into this space for that growth. So agriculture, yes, we're very much involved in that. In terms of the capital market, I think you probably just cataloged a lot of woes. The stock market is down, the bond market is down. The capital markets in other parts of the world, some are up, some are down. And I think that the state of the capital market reflects the state of the economy and the state of the fact that we're just recovering from the delayed impact of the global recession on our economy. You will remember that when the central bank governor came in, that was held to pay in the banking sector, and the capital market had practically collapsed before then. So it's not that easy to take off, if you like, from a collapsed capital market that had fundamental issues without addressing the fundamentals. So the fundamentals are being addressed now, and you know, before long I see the capital market bouncing back. But I don't think that they're going to bounce back in a hurry, different from the pace at which the transformation in the whole economy will take place. The capital market is linked to the underlying economy, it's linked to the bond market, it's linked to the money market, it's linked to government policy, it's linked to the global economy. Like my chairman said, all of these things are clearly day by day showing us how interlinked all the economies in the world are, and we're no different. You know, so how we succeed in lifting our capital market to where we think it should be it depends on how the rest of the economy will grow and how easy it will be to attract investment, whether it's domestic investment or foreign investment into our environment. We've just been talking about corruption, but that has a direct impact. The uncertainty that creates, you know, has a direct impact on all of those things, whether for domestic investors or for foreign investors. So I see that there's going to be change. There's going to be growth in the capital market for sure, but all of those growths will have to take into consideration the fundamentals of our economy and the fundamentals of the changes that we're making and whether those changes are sticking or not.
You know, just one final comment on that. I think the volatility that you're referencing is directly attributed to the lack of certainty that's out there. Some of the factors that I talked about earlier, and those factors are going to be with us for a while. And so I would tell you, you should expect to continue to see that type of volatility in the markets, not only here in Nigeria, but in other markets around the world. I think that's just the reality of the environment that we're going to be dealing with for the next, call it 3 years, as some of these more fundamental issues work their way through the whole of the capital market systems. And as Ken just said, the fact that these markets are all intertwined and integrated, no matter how well you're doing here in Nigeria, if you're even on one of these kind of trajectories, you are going to have implications of things that are operating outside of your market that come back to you because of the way they're so connected today.